Rudy Ray Moore quotes, I didn't have the kind of budget to make those big budget Hollywood movies, so I had to make the films more outrageous, more outlandish in order to compete. Rudy Ray Moore was a comedian, storyteller, actor, director, um, interesting figure that was very prevalent in the black community as a comedian. Now, interestingly, his story got turned into a movie by Eddie Murphy, ironically. Wesley Snipes go starting it. The funny thing about when I watched Dolomite by Eddie Murphy was that it was like, wow, Eddie paid homage to him because Rudy Ray Moore was like that kept secret. You know, 70s and the 80s was almost like that underground taboo that was there, but it almost didn't feel like it was connected. Like when you saw the you see certain type of figures that were known, but it's almost like it was shameful that you didn't speak about it because it was almost like it was taboo. He was like that for comedy. And as far as black comedians go, he was like the king of it. He was the rapping comedian. He rhymed. He was the street dude. He got sampled a lot in records. People used him a lot. Mhm. Snoop Dogg, Too Short, all the West Coast rappers and East Coast rappers. Dolomite, Rudy Ray Moore's character was so known that he was in like an industry unto himself. But it was almost like a taboo that you kind of like, shh, that's Dolomite. You know, used to watch his films, and I remember a young R&B artist at the time was leading a funk band was in one of the Dolomite movies. And I was like, wow, that was James Ingram because James Ingram had a funk band. It was a trip to see him up there in a Dolomite movie, but that was the reality. That was the impact that he had. So you know, that was like a wow. That was a wow. But anyway, let's get back into when we talking about this though, where we are, putting this in perspective and going about it. Um, he was one of those guys that you know Richard Pryor was almost considered mainstream compared to what this guy. This guy really had a uniqueness about him, and he would do a take on. He's like he spoofed everything, but in a black style. He spoofed the tough guy image. He spoofed the old Bruce Lee movies. He did like a mockery of different things and made it into one. And his concepts were funny. They were funky. They were lively. It was nothing like Rudy Ray Moore. Nothing like it. You know. Um, you know. Just had a uniqueness about what he was doing. You know. And his movies just kind of like were in their own orbit, but they were so necessary. You know. And if you saw him and you listened to his raps, you see Ice T was quoting him. You saw so many people. hmm You know, he actually was paved the way for LaWanda Page, who later became Aunt Esther and was working with Red Fox. He was social with all that, but his was really what we call on the underground tip. His was really like, you know, it didn't blow up mainstream. It was like if you knew Dolomite, it's like wow. So Rudy Ray Moore left a lasting impact, and he was someone who definitely said that you could make it because of the system and being institutionalized systematic racism. But he made a way for himself. So much respect and remembering Rudy Ray Moore's Dolomite. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.